Week number 9 of the 2025 SEC football season is officially upon us. Yours truly is boots on the ground in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We are set up for an epic weekend. And, of course, as always, we're getting you started and getting you ready right here on the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered's SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. We've got best bets. We've got our pick 'em. We're going to preview this entire weekend. We got some other things we're going to dive into and discuss as well. One thing we can guarantee you, we're going to have ourselves one hell of a time here on this Thursday, guys. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, before we get going, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, guys. We are inching ever so closely to 30,000 subscribers. We cannot do it without your love and support. Also, make sure you check out our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. I was very relieved to see that in the state of Louisiana, FanDuel is legal. So if you're in the Bayou getting ready for this weekend's game, maybe you're a Texas A&M fan who's coming into town, and wherever you are, make sure you're playing with our friends at FanDuel, and you sign up at FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. Week number 9 is officially here, and we're getting you ready for the weekend. Our best bets, our pick 'em, our preview, everything in between. Once again, guys, this is the Overtime Drive. It is Thursday, October the 23rd. I am Chris Phillips. Joining me, as he always does, my co-host, colleague, partner in crime, one of the best in the business, Mr. Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. Really excited to do it with you, my friend. Week number 9. Let's get after it.
Let the caffeine course through the veins, ladies and gentlemen. Let's enjoy this weekend. Don't ever tell her that it's a sleepy Saturday. We always got great games. 11 a.m., we got a matchup out in Norman. We got a 2:30 kick between a top 10 Vanderbilt squad. Game day going to be in Nashville. I don't care what anybody says about going to Brookings, South Dakota. Vanderbilt, Nashville, you've earned the right to have game day on your campus. And then we close things out at night with Texas A&M versus LSU. But before we begin the show, you guys may be noticing there's a little space right there in between my head where there's supposed to be a helmet. And that's because I would like to give a shout out to one Mr. Dylan Baskins, because Dylan not only reached out and said, "Hey, buddy, I want to help you contribute to the fund. I want to help. Let's make this a full 16-team roster with the helmets." He even said, "I'm an Ole Miss person. Which Ole Miss helmet do you want?" And if you guys know me at this point, you know which is my favorite helmet of all time. That's sweet, sultry, powder blue Ole Miss. And it has arrived. Dylan Baskins, I cannot thank you enough. And as we do around here is tradition, if you buy a helmet, you get dead center for the entire
Dylan.
show.
Let's go, Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan.
Oh, yeah.
We are 5 down. Mizzou, South Carolina. Vandy folks, time to step the game up. I would like to finish this first row. We got 3 more spots on the first row, and then we're going to get the second row started. I would like to finish this first row before the end of the season. My MIZ, Vandy, South Carolina faithful. Step on up like Mizzou did. Step on up like Ole Miss did. Step on up like Texas A&M did. Marcus, Dylan, you will forever be remembered for what you have accomplished on this Saturday. And I appreciate you guys.
Come on, let's step it up, folks. Let's step it up.
Let's finish the row. Come on.
Don't let Ole Miss and A&M get the one up on you. Come on now.
MIZ faithful specifically. Guys, I've been giving you nothing but appreciation.
Come on, where y'all at, man? Where y'all at? No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Really appreciate y'all. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. Appreciate y'all helping the Bear improve the aesthetic of his studio setup behind him. So really awesome stuff. Bear, great way to start the weekend. Like you said, I know you texted me yesterday, said, "Hey, look what came in the mail, the powder blue helmet." Like you said, I think you could argue.
I was getting Dylan, I'm going to let you know right now. I spent about 15 minutes just mesmerizing at it last night. Kirsten looked at me and she said, "You haven't looked at me like that since we got married." So you know that it was a very special moment in the Thompson household when that powder blue decided to make its arrival to the crew.
Yes, so Dylan, you might have put the Bear in the doghouse, just FYI.
I appreciate it, buddy. You know what? I'm okay with it. You get the powder blue Ole Miss helmet, you're not complaining that much.
The Bears over there like, bark, bark. I'm good. Yeah, I'll go. I'll go right away. Bear, on that note, we got a ton to discuss, tons to get into. A jam-packed week number 9. Like you mentioned, we've only got 2 teams on a bye this week, and they're very notable which 2. It's Georgia, Florida, because next week we have the cocktail party. But that means we've got 7 games, 7 conference games, a lot of matchups, Bear, with a lot on the line. You and I talked about the month of October. Separation Saturdays. This is where the men get separated from the boys. This is another one where I don't know if you'd call the games playoff eliminators, but lots on the line, certainly. Playoff games before the playoffs ever get here, if you will, as this thing continues to take shape. And the SEC title race, oh, by the way, the fight to Atlanta continues. Bear, before we get into the game previews, the predictions, all that good stuff, let's talk one of our favorite things every single week, that being gambling, our best bets going into week number 9. And Bear, it's an exciting time right now to be following these picks, to be tailing these picks, because Bear, we went a combined 9-1 last weekend, and your boy went 5-0. And you know what I love about that, Cole? We were getting a lot of grief last week when I posted these picks, and you and I were both sitting at 18-17, and we got comments about, oh my God, I can't believe you're even still posting your gambling picks. You're only 18-17. I've gotten so many comments. This is just like flipping a coin. Like, y'all don't really know what you're talking about. Tell me you don't know about gambling without telling me you don't know about gambling, right? As long as you're staying above 500, all it takes is one big week, catch some momentum, bam, we got it. Bears at 22-18 now. I am at 23-17, feeling good, and we feel good about our picks once again, Bears. So with that being said, our best bets, our best 5 going into the weekend. Let's start. What I love about these picks too, Bear, you and I went a lot of different directions here. I love that. We only have one similar. So let's start with that one first. Go ahead and knock it out. And again, guys, if you want our full previews and predictions, all of our preview and prediction videos for all 7 games are out via YouTube, podcast, everything. Again, we appreciate your love and support running the numbers up on that. So if you want full breakdowns, explanations, I highly encourage you to check those out. But if you go watch the Arkansas-Auburn preview, Bear, it is no secret which way we are leaning, and it's reflected in our gambling picks. You and I both are picking Arkansas to win. We are picking Arkansas to cover the 1.5-point spread. And not to play spoiler, neither you and I think this is even going to be close. I want to go back to Bear something really quickly for the audience, something I talked about in the preview. Again, I was friends with a guy who gambled on sports for a living. He knew a Vegas sharp, guy who knows a thing or two when it comes to gambling. If you look at this spread, Auburn opened as the favorite at 1.5. The number then swung across the line. What I mean by that is it went from one team to another. It swung across the line to now Arkansas is minus 1.5. He told me, the Vegas sharp said to him, when it does that, you either bet on the team it swung to or you don't bet the game at all, because for a number to swing all the way across the line, somebody's got to know something. What I feel like you and I know, Bear, is that Auburn's just not a very good football team, and Taylor Green is an electric factory. We're both taking Arkansas minus 1.5.
You can sell me on the idea of having a top 25 scoring defense with Auburn, which again is going to make this, I think, an enticing game early on. You still have to deal with a top 20 scoring offense that's Arkansas, and they're putting up roughly around 38 points per game. At some point, the dam breaks for all defenses, and this is where I think it comes down for DJ Durkin's squad. You have no opportunity, I think, to get the ball moving offensively, and even with a terrible defense for Arkansas, I don't trust right now the offensive personnel of Auburn at the most important position, quarterback. I don't trust the offensive line. And I do trust that Taylor Green is going to be nightmare fuel for a lot of people. And the other thing, and then we're going to reveal this in the tier rankings later on this week that we're posting probably today or tomorrow. I said that Arkansas is in the tier of chaos. You don't really care anymore about what is your season, if you're going to a bowl game, where do you go with your next hire? You're like the Joker. And Bobby Petrino is truly embracing his Heath Ledger moment of some men just want to watch the world burn. Because what Arkansas has is an opportunity to get 2 coaches fired, ruin a college football playoff bid for Mizzou, potentially knock out Texas in the process, and be in the hunt for at least maybe another year of him being the head coach. So have fun with it. Go crazy. I think that's what you see on Saturday. It's just crazy, out of left field, unload the kitchen sink, let the clip just go through a slew of Tigers and call it a day. That's why you're going to win and you're going to cover.
Again, both us going Arkansas minus 1.5. All right, Bear, that being said, here we go. We'll go back and forth here now. My second pick, I'm going Alabama minus 12.5 at South Carolina. Listen, I think this is one, before the season, Bear, I picked South Carolina to win this game straight up. I also didn't think the Gamecocks would be nearly as bad as they are in this season. Alabama just on a different planet right now. Ty Simpson is rolling. My Ty Simpson for Heisman ticket, the stock on it only goes up every single weekend. I know weird things happen at Williams-Brice Stadium. This game's not a night game, though. It's a 2:30 game still. I know things get crazy, get raucous. Bama's just such a superior team at this point. So give me Alabama to win. Give me Alabama to cover the 12.5.
Let's go out to Nashville. You know what's really interesting is that when we look back at this game, it's basically looking in the mirror if you're Vanderbilt or Mizzou. And what I mean by that is, like, quite literally, if you were to do the office PAM test of holding up two pitchers and look at the stat lines, they're the exact same team. I mean, mine is literally a shade of gold and a shade of gold, and one person has a white helmet versus a black helmet. They're the same team. They're run-oriented offenses. They love to go ahead and use the run to set the pass. They have quarterbacks that are mobile. They have top 12 scoring defenses. They have top 12 run defenses. They both have a common opponent lost in Alabama. They both have a common opponent win in South Carolina. Like, they're the same team. Like that's really what this is. And so sometimes when you face off against the same team in practice, what really is going through your head is you understand what it takes to be able to beat them and put up a lot of points. On the flip side, you also know that there are some faults that you have on your roster that is going to make this a low-scoring affair. And I think that this game is going to finish somewhere in the 24-21, maybe 28-24 range. So we're pushing that line of 52. But I don't think that we're going to get like a 38-31 finish. I think that both of these defenses are going to be able to show on up. I don't feel confident in my pick on Vanderbilt or Mizzou to be able to win this game, but I feel confident that we are going to see this be a low-scoring affair. Both defenses show up and show on out in Nashville. That's why I'm taking the under at 52.5.
Bear, I'm going to stick with that game, but unlike you, I am confident in my pick to win this football game. I went Vandy minus 2.5 last weekend against this very shirt that I'm wearing and the very place that I'm at, the LSU Tigers. And I caught flack for it. You and I both. Vandy won. Vandy covered. I ain't starting to doubt Diego Pavia now. Give me Vandy minus 2.5. First Bank Stadium. Vandy wins. Vandy covers. It is the year of the Commodore. The magical season continues in Nashville. The run to the college football playoff continues. College football needs Diego Pavia in the playoff. We need a home playoff game, I should say, in Nashville. They're going to take the next step towards that this weekend. I'm not starting to doubt Diego now. I'm going to take Vandy minus 2.5. Again, same line as last weekend.
Texas, Mississippi State. Texas comes into this matchup 82nd in total yards, 80th in points scored, 74th in rushing yards, 73rd in passing yards, 88th in third down conversion rate, 79th in sacks allowed, 80th in tackles for loss allowed, 91st in red zone efficiency. Guys, it's not a good offense. It is a droll, disgusting, almost unwatchable. It is a car wreck to where you see the person on fire and you know that it's going to haunt you for the rest of your life, but you can't look away. That is Texas right now offensively. But you got an elite defense. And when you have an elite defense, take the under. Always take the under. Always, even in Starkville, with the cowbells ring, and take the under. Mississippi State may end up winning this game. I think that we're talking like a 17-14 final. Like, again, you gave up more yards to Kentucky than anybody else this season and lived to tell the tale. Like, this is a good offense for Mississippi State. Doesn't mean it's going to score. So I'm taking the under at 44.5. I think that Texas does win it, but I'm not confident in it. But I am confident in this being something along the lines of a 21-20 finish.
Bear, sticking with the same game, I feel like it's kind of role reversal this week because typically I'm someone that I fall in love with totals. I love to take totals, I feel like, more than most. I'm all over spreads this week in these games. I'm just, I don't know, man. It's something about the slate this week. I love the spreads. Again, I'm sticking with Mississippi State, Texas. I mean, Bear, I'm going to take Mississippi State plus 7.5. I'm picking Mississippi State to win, not to play spoiler. You're going to give me 7.5. I'll take it. I just, the thing that maybe gives me a little bit of hesitation, Texas has had this weird thing where they'll play really good, then really bad, then really good, then really bad. Even their really good hasn't been great, but they have done that at times this season. I just, to everything you said, Bear, about their offense, there's nothing offensively that inspires me to say that they're going to like run away with this game in any sort of way. So even if Mississippi State doesn't win, I do think it's a close ball game. I think it's a fourth quarter ball game. You're going to give me the touchdown and the hook. I'm going to roll the dice on Jeff Lebby and the Dogs plus 7.5.
Let's go over to Lexington, Kentucky, where that would be the game for Tennessee versus Kentucky. Everything that I said about Texas, the UT. Well, let's switch it. Tennessee, number 2 scoring offense in the country, having 44.1 yards per game. Number 29th in the country in rushing yards per game with over 200. Number 6 in the country in passing yards per game with multiple wide receivers that can make plays. Number 5 in the country in total offense. Number 22 in the country in third down conversion rate. Number 23 in the country in sacks allowed. And number 18 in the country in tackles for losses allowed. Case in point, Kentucky got to hang 300 yards plus on Texas, and they lost. You are not going to be able to do that in this matchup because Tennessee's too good of an offense, so I think allow it to even happen. Of all the games that right now with these spreads that I look at, the one I feel the most confident in is Tennessee. They need to get it right. They need to be able to turn the corner. Defensively, it is what it is at this point in the season. You are going to have some weaknesses, but you still have a quarterback in Joey Aguilar that can make plays. You still have some wide receivers that are finding ways to get on open, and you have a ground and pound attack that's able to go ahead and set out the pass downfield. So I like Tennessee to win. I like Tennessee to cover.
Hey, let's go to this game that I am at this weekend, LSU and Texas A&M. I wish I had more confidence in taking the Bayou Bengals to cover the spread. I've gone on record. We'll save it for the pick'em of who my pick is, but I think it's pretty well documented at this point. But I'm going to take a flyer here and go with the over. Maybe this is just selfishly I'm pulling for points here. LSU's back in the corner. LSU's backs are against the wall. They have to come out and play well. Bear, I've been talking to people all week long. I talked to people on the way down here. Brian Kelly getting fired is a very, very, very real possibility. This is not a pipe dream. This is not a, something that, I know we can talk buyout, but it very well could happen. And things will get ugly if the Tigers lose to the Texas A&M Aggies. So I think you're going to see LSU come out and play much better. Texas A&M has been rolling offensively. They're well-balanced, big physical offensive line. The LSU defense struggled a week ago. I think this will be a little bit of a higher scoring game than maybe some are expecting. Even on a wet night in Baton Rouge, it is expected to rain, Bear, but never forget the chance of rain in Death Valley is never. So we should be okay inside the stadium. Over 47.5, higher scoring than expected when LSU and A&M do battle Saturday night.
I don't have a good gauge on the over-under in this matchup because, again, Texas A&M has been in a rock fight before, and I also think that partially last week's game against Vanderbilt was an outlier. Now, the big news is Whit Weeks is doubtful for this matchup, so the over may end up hitting because of if it hit with Diego Pavia, it certainly can hit with Marcel Reed. Like, that's just the bottom line. And Texas A&M's defense is very hit and miss at times, so if you win with the explosive plays downfield in Caden Durham, you win with the explosive plays when it comes to the wide receiver room. Trades Green gets open, has his due. I mean, the bottom line is that absolutely this could be something that is very much a high-scoring affair. I just trust Texas A&M right now. I do. And the last time that they marched on into Death Valley and got a win was 1994. It was the last time Texas A&M was undefeated. A&M's undefeated. It feels like that times have changed out in College Station. It feels like that even though we are talking about this team eventually going to have to take the loss somewhere, I don't know if there's enough confidence for me to believe that this is the one where it happens. And if I don't feel confident enough in this offensive personnel being able to create any opportunities downfield, and if I don't trust that if you cannot get the explosive plays, this rushing attack is just going to beat you to death, then why am I not looking at Texas A&M and saying that they can't get the job done? So I'm taking them to win. I'm taking them to cover at -2.5. I hate that pick, but I'll tell you what, it does feel like this will be the final nail in the coffin on all Texas 8-4 jokes about where this team is. Because number one, they can't go 8-4. You would have to lose to Stanford. If you lose to Stanford, you do not belong in the college football playoff at 11-1. Like, that's just the bottom line. So 9-3 would be the case if you end up winning this game at worst. And that still means you have to lose to Texas, South Carolina, and Mizzou.
Bear, going to be a fun Saturday night in the Bayou. All I see is 5-0 for both you and I. I think it's going to be the big weekend for our best bets.
Yeah. Hey, the good news is every single one of our bets could hit and not hurt each other because we're not doing head.
How about that? How about a pair of 5-0s this weekend? Wouldn't that
We
be
would have had it last week if Alabama just let a field goal happen against Tennessee because the over would have hit. It would have happened.
Listen, if you're feeling frisky, folks, just take all 10 of these picks, put them in a 10-game parlay, and let the madness ensue.
Yep.
I don't know what that'd pay out, but my God. Hey, if you do it and you hit it, hey, if you do a 5-game parlay, you do it and you hit it, all we ask is 20%. That's all.
I'm not even going to ask that. I'm just going to ask
10%. Yeah,
no, I'm going to go. I will go even. I will
Send
go
Bear
even,
another helmet for the.
I will go even kinder. Vandy, Mizzou, South Carolina helmet. Those three. One of them. Just right there, right there, right there. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I mean a little something, a little
something.
Hey, at minimum, guys,
you can spare me a helmet.
Yeah, exactly. At minimum, guys, listen. All we ask is that you play with our friends over at FanDuel when you do so. That's all we really ask, because our friends at FanDuel have got you covered. They take care of us. They are official partners and sponsors of this show. Of course, we're always brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel.com/SECU. Guys, FanDuel's got an offer you don't want to miss this NFL season. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Bear, what's the NFL game tonight? Who do we got? We have
the
pretty big one tonight.
Vikings-Chargers. That's a Chargers game.
Yeah, Vikings-Chargers on Amazon Prime. If you got Amazon Prime out there, Chargers 3.5-point favorite, totals at 44.5. So, hey, you can bet on that one. You can bet on others. Really anything and everything you think of, guys. It's as simple as pick a bet $5. If it wins, you're going to unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines. Whatever your style, FanDuel's got you covered. The NFL season's here. College football's in full swing. Guys, college basketball starts next week, if you can believe that. NHL, NBA. It is a great time to be a sports fan. You could argue this is one of the best months to be a sports fan. The only question is, are you ready to play with our friends at FanDuel? Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to download the FanDuel app and get started. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. And once again, pair of 5-0s coming for Bear and myself. I fully believe that. We're about to break the bookie this weekend. Let's get after it. Let's stay hot. All right. That being said, and on that note, let's stay hot when it comes to our game picks, preview, prediction. Like I mentioned, guys, if you want full previews and predictions for each and every single game, more depth analysis, we have done so right here on the SEC Unfiltered channel for every single game upcoming this weekend. But without further ado, Bear, let's get into our pick'em for week number 9. Cole currently coming in at 67-15 overall in his straight-up picks. Yours truly at 71-11. A comfortable lead at this point, Bear.
Yeah.
A comfortable lead. We're getting to the point in the season, Bear, you realize you're going to have to start rolling the dice just for the sake of rolling the dice if you hope to catch up.
Dude, I did it last week, and I lost every single one of the head-to-heads -1. That was why I started doing it. I went shock, and it was like, okay, cool. It was fun. Now let's go ahead and be a little bit different. Oh, you want to lose every single one, and it takes double overtime for you to get a victory. Okay. That was it. And there's 3 games that I almost went against you this week. And it's like, I can't do it. I can't constantly roll the dice at this point.
Fair enough. Makes sense. Either way, you got to pick with your head still, but, we get in the month of November. You might see the Bears starting to think a little outside of the box.
I was throwing darts at the board begging just to be able to come back.
Yeah, think a little outside of the box. That being said, guys, we've got 7 great games. This is an electric Saturday. Lots on the line. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it, Bear. Really quickly, I do want to mention that I'm pulling up the spreads for these games as we speak. I was trying to buy time, admittedly.
I was saying, what are you doing here, buddy?
Yeah, admittedly, I was trying to buy time on the show. All right, as we get into it, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. Let's start, Bear, with this game. Oklahoma, Ole Miss, one of the early matchups. This game taking place in Norman. As again, I'm still trying to stall here. Oklahoma, here we go. All right, Oklahoma is a 5.5-point favorite. The over-under sits at 54.5. Like I mentioned, this game at 11 a.m. kickoff down there in Norman. Bear, you and I both going with the road underdog, Ole Miss, to get the straight-up win. How about it? Hotty toddy.
I don't feel comfortable with it. I'll tell you that much. This is one of this was the first of the two that I am going to tell you right now. I thought last second, even after doing the prediction, when we sent in our picks to Eric, and make the flip at the last second. Ole Miss has a massive test ahead this weekend. They do. Yeah, offensively, you got to be able to show that you can finish drives. You can't just have that fast start. You got to be able to respond when you get a punt. The other thing that's going to be really detrimental is, hey, Ben Arbuckle, can you establish the run game once again against Ole Miss? Ole Miss is 113th, and outside the top 100 in run defense this year. It's not going to be the same amount of running backs that you saw like Chauncey Bowens and Nate Frazier and even Gunnar Stockton as a runner, but they're still running backs in Norman that can make plays. And Ben Arbuckle, you got to get John Mateer comfortable to be able to trust one of his biggest elements, which is running the football. If you can run the football against Ole Miss, this offense is now going to have a secondary punch that will be able to get the jabs in and kind of knock Ole Miss off of its path, because of then when you try to load the box, you can throw it downfield to a Javani Gibson, a Deion Burks, a Jared Kanik, who, remember, at one point was the best tight end in receiving yards in college football. So there's going to be places where they can get the ball in his hands and he can make it in the open field. I just think that right now the outside noise of where Ole Miss is with the Lane Kiffin speculation and all these other things, he needs to be able to, I think, win back the crowd just a little bit and go, guys, I'm here, I'm locked in. Let's finish this season before we talk about what happens next season. And also, I had the powder blue helmet, and I would be very facetious to get that and then pick against Ole Miss. So partially, you speak with the heart here. That's why I'm going with Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think the noise actually galvanizes this Ole Miss team. I don't think Oklahoma was able to keep up offensively. Love Ole Miss to cover. This might actually be a late ad for me, too, on the gambling side of things, Bear, admittedly, to take the Rebels and maybe even take a money line at that point. Bear, let's go to the game in Fayetteville. Arkansas hosting the Auburn Tigers. Arkansas, as we mentioned, very in-depth, a 1.5-point favorite. The over-under set at 55.5. And as we both talked, Bear, you and I both going with Arkansas to win this game. And I'll just emphasize, we're taking the cover. I think Arkansas wins this game big. I think Arkansas is going to put the final nail in Hugh Freeze's coffin. Although we've heard this week from some Auburn folks, friends of the show.
Said AWOL. And I probably meant a different word. So AWOL was not the word I meant when I came to describing Bobby Petrino in this offense. Ape shit is probably a better way to describe it. They want to go ape shit on everybody. And that's ultimately what I think happens. What I think is interesting is that there are people out there that say Hugh Freeze may still be employed until the season's end. The thing that I look at, Chris, is that this is where you decide. Like, he may end up having the job, but we're talking about Ed Orgeron kind of style, where Ed knew, hey, I'm not going to be back next year. The writing's on the wall. We've already made the announcement. I'm just finishing out this season, and then we're going to go on a different pathway. That might be Hugh Freeze. He may not get that treatment because of, again, you didn't win a national title. You haven't had a winning season since you got there. But if you lose this game with a defense that still is keeping you in every single matchup, and you begin the year 0-5 in conference play, there's no saving your job. I mean, right now, just to get to 8-4, which we've talked about as being just the bare minimum for Auburn, you have to win out. That means a win this weekend. That means a win against Alabama. That means a win to close out the year against who else do they have on the schedule? Mississippi State and Kentucky. Is that the other one that I'm blanking on?
I believe so. Yeah, Kentucky.
Yeah. So it's like you still have to win out just to get to 8-4. And this game is not an easy task because they have an offensive personnel that has been in every single matchup. They're averaging 38 points a game. So it's like there's a lot of doubt when it comes to Auburn, and for good reason. I don't trust the play calling. I don't trust the quarterback situation. I don't trust the offensive line. I think that you can run the football efficiently, but you know who else can run the football, Chris? Taylor Green. He gets his yards. He does. He eats. And part of me just wants to see the kid that currently is killing it and is in a terrible situation be able to put as much tape on the radar for NFL scouts to look at him and say, hey, you were in a bad spot, but you're really freaking good at what you do. We would love to have you as a part of our organization.
But let's go to the game in Nashville, Tennessee. Vanderbilt and Mizzou. This is a top 15 showdown at First Bank Stadium. Vandy is a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under set at 51.5. You and I both going with the Commodores to continue their magical season down there in the West End. Diego Pavia, Clark Lee, and the boys getting a dub. Anchor down. says SEC Unfiltered.
This is the other one that I really went back and forth, tossing and turning and thinking, do I want to make the last second switch? Are we sure that Vanderbilt's run defense is as good as advertised? Or have they just gone up against really underwhelming rushing attacks? Because you're not going to go up against an underwhelming rushing attack this weekend with Mizzou. Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts can feast. I mean, he's been slowed down the last 2 weeks, but we know that Auburn is a good run defense. They've gone up against talented teams. They've been able to shut them down. We know that Alabama used all of its run defense magic in Como to slow down Ahmad Hardy. Is Vandy going to be able to do that is my main question. And with so many of the similar traits that these two teams have with each other, I think being able to build on a lead at any point, like let's just say we're going into the fourth quarter and it's 17-17 and Vanderbilt finds a way to be able to get in the end zone with Diego Pavia. So now it's 24-17. Can you get to 10 points? Can you make it a 2-possession game? Because I think that really is going to decide on which one of these rosters comes away with a win. And I think that right now, I just trust Diego Pavia way more than I trust anybody on Mizzou. That's really what this came down to, is I trust number 2 to make the most plays and play Vanderbilt football more than I trust Mizzou to figure it all out offensively this week with Bo Pabula. Does not mean I don't think Mizzou can't win this game. Mizzou can easily win this game, and I won't be shocked. I just trust Diego Pavia. That's really what this is.
I feel the same, Bear. Bobby Yaga. It's the year of the door, baby.
Yep.
Commodores going to find a way. Going to find a way in Nashville. Bear, let's go to the game in Columbia, South Carolina. Alabama goes on the road to take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. Alabama in this game, Bear. Interestingly enough, this line has come down. Bama is an 11.5 point favorite. The over-under sits at 47.5. What does it mean? You and I both still believe Alabama is going to win. Maybe this is a little bit more interesting than certainly I think. I had Bama minus 12.5. I might go double down again. I mean, the only thing I could be thinking, Bears, you said this. Maybe you're due for a letdown if you're Bama, and potentially, is this a game, if you're an Alabama fan, that scares you because these are the games that Kalen DeBoer's football teams at Bama thus far have had letdown performances and have even lost these football games. Either way, you and I both going with the Crimson Tide, but the way it shakes out will be interesting.
Like, this is why I didn't touch the game. Not because of I don't think Alabama can win. It's because of these are the games. These are the ones that when you're Kalen DeBoer, you still are wondering, can I win these ones? Because you didn't last season when you faced off against Michigan. You didn't last season when you faced off against Oklahoma. And you didn't last season when you faced off against Vanderbilt. Oh, and all those games were away from Bryant-Denny Stadium. The other thing is that, again, this is a matchup where it's 5 straight SEC opponents. It's not a ranked matchup, but it's 5 SEC opponents in a row before bye week. You're due to eventually have that game where things just are way, way, way too close for comfort. And this is a game that you got to have if you're South Carolina, not for your season, but for your pride standpoint. It's homecoming. You have a former Alabama head coach as your offensive play caller. You have a quarterback that last year found an incredible spark in the second half and was a 2-point conversion away from sending this game to overtime and nearly found a wide receiver in the back of the end zone on the last play of the game to make this thing interesting. Like, you have the skill set to still make it a battle. But I don't trust your rushing attack. I don't trust your offensive line. I don't trust your play calling. I don't trust your wide receivers. And basically, you need to have a perfect performance for this to even be a consideration battle. And I still think even with a perfect performance, you need Alabama to find a way to mess things up for itself to win this game. A perfect performance, I think you lose by 3. You need them to ruin it for themselves. And I don't think they do. And I think Alabama wins because of it. But I almost took at plus 12.5 the line of South Carolina. That was one of the if you're going to ride another line and throw it on to the express lane, I may do the same thing, and I may take South Carolina at plus 11.5. There's just something about this matchup that it doesn't sit right with me. It just simply doesn't from a betting standpoint at all.
We'll see.
I wonder if we will see Chris Phillips again. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. Let's move on over while waiting for Chris to get back to Texas versus Mississippi State. Really interesting game in this one. I mean, bottom line, guys, is that we're talking about Texas needing to get back on track. Texas needing to be able to find any bit of an offensive spark. And you don't simply do that when you go down to Starkville, Mississippi. We know what the cowbells ring. We know how people end up going out and making it a bigger deal than it has to be. And by the way, Blake Shapen and company, they were able to make this a really, really interesting battle the last time they played at home. They took on Tennessee. Remember what we saw in that matchup? Overtime game. They got the rushing attack back, I think, a little bit when it came to the overall performance against Florida last week. So I'll be interested to see where we go next. As I think Chris Phillips eventually comes back into the studio in a second. Where we go next if you are Mississippi State. I think one thing that you're going to have to throw out there that's going to be really important is the identity of potentially Kamario Taylor. And we welcome Chris Phillips back to the stage. Hey, buddy. How are we doing?
This is what happens when you go on the road, Bear. I do apologize. I was plugged into a charger block in my buddy's office, and I don't know if this charger block just doesn't work or wasn't meant for a laptop to be plugged into it. But, yeah. Anyways, okay, that is the wrong graphic. Either way, this is what happens when you go on the road, guys. This is what happens when you go on the road. Okay, here we go. Technical difficulties can't stop us. All good. All good. I was sitting there like, what happened? That was those flames the Bear was spitting. It just totally fried my whole situation here. So anyway,
they don't want you to talk about we will see. They want you to accept the fact that we will not see.
Disagree with the Bear at your own peril.
Exactly.
Really,
exactly.
True. Really true.
And when you do, I'm gonna hit snap, and then this is what happens, Chris Phillips. Look at that. You go away. Exactly. Disagree with me one more time. Mississippi State. Texas is a 7.5-point favorite. I already said this when you were off air. The last time we saw Mississippi State play at home, they took Tennessee to overtime. They had a good rushing attack. We saw last week, without Fluff Bothwell, them still being able to run the football. And both Brennan Thompson and Anthony Evans had over 100 receiving yards. Now, again, it's Florida's defense versus Texas defense, which it's a good defense versus a great one. But Blake Shapen having a day would not be the most surprising thing, especially against Texas with how bad their offense looks.
Yeah, Bear, I'm going Mississippi State. This is me rolling the dice here. I think Jeff Lebby and the boys, he's due to get your your first SEC win and your tenure there, not just of the season.
Yeah.
And Texas's offense has just been so putrid, so downright bad. This is an 8-4 team in my mind. At Texas is maybe even 7-5, but at minimum 8-4. There's a couple losses down the stretch that are incoming. Again, I'm going to push my chips to the center of the table and call this one. I think Mississippi State at home. I love the plus 7.5, but I think the Dogs find a way to pull the big upset. Cowbells ringing in Starkville all afternoon. So give me a beat here, Bear.
I personally believe that we will see Texas lose at least 2 more games. I just am not.
I mean, they've still got Georgia and A&M
and Vanderbilt,
Arkansas team,
and Vanderbilt.
There's not a non-losable game left for them.
This feels like the one, and even still, this one's not a non-losable game because they could easily lose this game, and I wouldn't be shocked. So, my big thing is that Texas has an elite defense that's going to keep it in every single game. And I know that Mookie Taft's injury is a big deal, but there is speculation that you will see, even in a limited capacity, CJ Baxter. So, does that change to help Texas kind of right the ship offensively enough to be able to win this game? Regardless, I'm taking the under, and I think it's going to be a dirty. Like, I'm saying something along the lines of like 17-7, 13-6. Like, it is, you're going to puke afterwards if you are a fan of offensive football. And defensively, I don't think that you're going to be very excited either, because I think that you're going to see a lot of points come on the board. It's just going to end in 3 versus 6. That's the difference, bro.
Yeah, ugly ball game, more than likely incoming in Starkville on Saturday afternoon. More than likely, pretty ugly game. Bear, let's go to the game that I'll be at Saturday night down here in Death Valley in Baton Rouge. LSU, Texas A&M. LSU back into a corner. They have to win. The chatter around Brian Kelly is growing and growing and growing. Texas A&M, perfect 7-0. You're going with the Aggies. I am going with LSU. Bear on the gambling side of things, of course. A&M's a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under at 48.5. Not a lot of logic for me picking LSU in this game, as has been well documented and well noted. But I'm banking on a little bit of voodoo here, a little bit of magic. You're banking on, and I commend you for it, the better football team, period.
Yeah. If you told me again, it's a night game at Death Valley where Brian Kelly has a winning record and a pretty successful one, and the rain becomes a major factor, and the voodoo shaman man out in the boondocks is in attendance, making sure there is a hex on Texas A&M, I could see this game ending up in favor of the Tigers. But if we're just going simply based off of X's and O's, Texas A&M can win as a ground team. Texas A&M can win as an aerial team. Texas A&M can win in a rock fight because of its defense. Texas A&M has a defensive end that basically is going to be dressing up as Jason Voorhees and trying to kill Garrett Nussmeier on every single play. It's an early Halloween present from Cassius Howell. There's just too many things that I look at right now that I say, you know what? It's extremely hard to pick against Texas A&M. And if they end up doing this, I will start to put them in the conversation of legit national championship contender, because of I don't know what more you need to see when it comes to the ambiance of road atmospheres or play style. Like again, last week they won by 3, but it never felt like they were in jeopardy of losing to Arkansas. Like it truly never did feel like that in the fourth quarter. So if that becomes the case for LSU, feel pretty good. I mean, again, it's just one of those things where kind of got to trust your gut in this standpoint. That's where I'm at.
Like you said, Bear, rain could play a factor, but let's not forget, as I mentioned earlier, Death Valley, where the chance of rain is never, except last year when they played Alabama, and it actually did pour inside the stadium. So we won't talk about that. Either way, though, yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, this is such a fork in the road game. Maybe that fork's already been taken, but it's such a fork in the road game for LSU, man. They lose this one and your season's cooked. I mean, kiss your playoff hopes goodbye. I mean, obviously, you probably could even say that about last weekend's game, but it'll be officially official with that third loss. Your playoff hopes are history.
Like the other thing is, how much further are you going to fall? Because if we're talking about best is 9-3. That means that you beat Alabama. That means that you beat Arkansas. And that means that you beat Western Kentucky,
Oklahoma.
You're not beating all of them.
Yeah.
You're not. Like that's the thing. So we're talking about 7-5. 7-5 is a fireable offense at LSU. Like it simply is. And you don't have the good graces that Ed Orgeron or Les Miles or Nick Saban have with the national title. 7-5 is a fireable offense, regardless of what you've done in the past. It is.
Yeah, I think even 8-4, he's out of there. Again, based on people I talked to driving into town yesterday, I think he's – yeah, I'll be surprised at this point if Brian Kelly's back as the head coach next season. Bear, let's go to the final game here in Lexington, Kentucky. You and I talked when we previewed this game. This is kind of the one that if there's one game that's under the radar or kind of being pushed to the side a little bit because it's in the super late nighttime slot and all these other primetime games, it is Kentucky and Tennessee out there at Kroger Field. And again, this is a long-standing SEC rivalry, if you will, if you did not know that. Kentucky, a 7.5-point underdog. Tennessee, the favorite, of course. The over-under sit at 54.5. You and I both going with the Vols. And interestingly enough, Bear, let me go back to that spread really quickly. Tennessee, last I checked, was a 9.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
They are now just a 7.5-point favorite. I mean, what could Vegas possibly know in this game, my friend? What could they possibly know? We're both going Tennessee to win. But, I mean, by a touchdown?
Okay, so here's what I think. Initially, Auburn was a favorite against Arkansas. Alabama is a favorite against South Carolina. Texas is a favorite against Mississippi State. Texas A&M is a favorite against Tennessee. I mean, against LSU. Tennessee is a favorite against Kentucky. What do all those teams have in common?
Yeah, they're all on the road.
they're starting to figure out somebody is gonna have a way with the voodoo magic to show on up. Like that's what it is. And so Vegas is telling you that there are people saying, I don't know if Kentucky will be the one to pull off the upset, but after last week, I'm not trusting Tennessee. Or people were saying, listen, Auburn offensively so bad that I cannot trust them anymore. So it's like they're telling you without telling you, change is coming to one of these teams. We got to fix some things. We just simply got to fix it. We want to get back on the right track.
I like Tennessee. I may bet Tennessee to cover again, Bear. I do agree with you. I think there's going to be some road favorites that struggle and potentially even lose. I don't think the Vols are going to be one of them. But some weird things have happened at Kroger Field before. But again, you and I both going with the Vols to get it done. So that means we have two games we disagree on: State, Texas, and LSU A&M. And those are our picks for week number 9. Guys, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Agree, disagree. Where do you agree and disagree? Your thoughts on the week 9 slate. Bear, before we get off of this, if you could change one pick right now, I'm giving you a freebie. If you could change one right now, which one would you change, if any?
Missouri. I'd go back to my MIC roots and just say I think they got the job done. Again, a part of me wants to say, Vandy has not faced off against a running back like Ahmad Hardy yet. And that to me is what is worrisome. Mizzou. It's far and away Mizzou. It is.
I don't know if I'd full on change a pick, Bear. The one I probably feel least confident in, probably Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's number 2.
That's another tough one where I'm like, man, like I just feel like I am bailing out on Oklahoma a little early. You know what I mean? I'm not fully bailing out them. It's not like they're playing some bad team and I'm like, Oklahoma's falling apart. But like, I mean, we were talking about Oklahoma being maybe the best team in the SEC like just a few weeks ago, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one where like my confidence level isn't super, super high. But yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend, Bear. It's going to be a fun weekend, week number 9. Like I said, guys, let us know your thoughts, your picks, your predictions. We'd love to hear from you. Bear, that being said, week number 9, anything else we got to discuss?
Bold predictions that we have not done for this week.
Well, I want to ask you this, too, before we get into bold predictions. Maybe you can help me with this. And if you want to judge me for not knowing this or asking this question, then so be it.
I already judge you every day, but sure, why not?
That's fine. That's fine. So does everybody else. Bear, we had a report from the Yellowhammer News that Ken Williamson, the veteran SEC official, has been permanently suspended from officiating conference games because of what happened in the Auburn-Georgia game, where there were complaints that came in the wake, 11 complaints that came in the wake of that Auburn-Georgia game. We all recall the officiating in that game was
horrendous,
terrible. 9 of those complaints were validated by conference officials. And Yellowhammer News request for comments from the Southeastern Conference went unreturned. Is this legit? Like, is this a real story? Did he really get suspended, like, permanently?
I believe so.
I mean, listen, the story has 7.8 million views. It looks legitimate.
Yeah, no, he got suspended. It's official. Yeah, permanently suspended after the controversial calls in the Alabama game. So it's real. Good. I mean, good.
Crazy. This is what people want.
Here's the thing, though. They don't want this. What they want is they want permanent officials that are going to work for the SEC, be on the payroll. That way, they are taking this as seriously as possible. That's what they want. Because again, when you're not fully officially on the payroll in a way to where you know that you are secure, things happen. But when you're on it, it's a lot different. You can control it. You can penalize officiating officials for having bad calls. They have to deal with the SEC ramifications. That's what they want. But at least, if I'm not mistaken, Ken Williamson also was on the staff for the Auburn Oklahoma game, if I'm not mistaken, too. So again, now you got 2 complaints from a guy when it comes to officiating against Auburn. And this is also why I think that partially Auburn may not fire Hugh Freeze if they win this game. And even if they win out, because here's the thing, there's a part of Auburn community, and I know them. I trust me, I've met them. I've had conversations. I've broken bread with them. I know who they are. They believe that they should be sitting at 5-2 right now instead of sitting at 3-4. They believe it. because they see themselves as a team that was screwed by officiating in the matchup against Oklahoma and Georgia to where they would have won those football games. So partially, they believe that Hugh Freeze is doing a bang-up job just because they should be sitting at 5-2, and that officials hate them. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond in this matchup. It will. It's a move that is necessary, I think, for the sport, largely because you're being penalized for making horrendous decisions and not allowing the game to unfold actually on the field, and you're living up to the hands of the Zebras. But again, at the same time, you got to be better about this if you are the SEC. You have to understand that this is not acceptable. We have a higher standard, and we need to attain that standard. And so this is a step in the right direction. I'll take it, but I don't know if we're going to see this consistently be done. And if this is what we're going to see that will eventually put them over the edge and say, yep, we got to make these changes. Let's go ahead and move right now.
Yeah, the officiating has to improve. That is the given. That's the thing we can all agree on. A permanent suspension, I think, will definitely speak volumes. That make Auburn fans feel much better, but I guess at least there's some consequences for it. That's a step in the right direction for holding people accountable. I'm all about it. Hold people accountable. Do it.
Yep.
All right, Bear, bold predictions for week number 9. I'll let you start while I think of one.
First one is that Alabama wins its football game, not behind the arm of Ty Simpson, but its defense. I think that they get 3 turnovers in this matchup somehow, some way, including a pick 6. I think that you will see 14 points from Alabama's defense, from Alabama's final score come from its defense.
Taylon Green has 500 all-purpose yards. 500 yards of offense.
The loser of the Oklahoma Ole Miss game has the quarterback with the more rushing yards. I said earlier this week that if you told me that the rushing yards was going to be the factor in this matchup, whoever had the more would win. Bold prediction: Trinidad Chambliss has more rushing yards and he finds a way to lose, or John Mateer has more rushing yards and they find a way to lose.
Steve Sarkisian in the post-game press conference after Texas loses admits he needs to hire an offensive coordinator.
He'll never do that. I mean, you're right. Bold prediction. Over 1,000 total yards of offense between Tennessee and Kentucky.
Oh, dear God. That's just outrageous.
But what if it's like 600 of them come from one side?
They've played some weird games over the years. They really have.
We already saw a 1,000-yard game and 80-plus points be scored last week. Why not again?
Bold prediction: Garrett Nussmeier goes for over 300.
Honestly, I can see it. There's a part of me that can see it. My last one, and if you want to go, you can. Sunday morning, we wake up, the betting odds for the Heisman Trophy. Number 1, Diego Pavia.
I love it. Bobby Yaga.
Number 1 Heisman.
Bring the Heisman Trophy to Nashville, please, sir. All right, let's put a pin in it, Bear. Really, really good stuff today. Again, guys, we appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Week number 9 is officially here. Cannot wait. Content continues to bleed out of the eyeballs from us, guys. We got all kinds of segments dropping all throughout the day, all throughout the weekend, of course. Our guy Bear is going to do his happy hour on Instagram on tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central. Make sure around 7 o'clock Central-ish. Make sure you check it out. Saturday, we've got the full reactions going on. The 3 biggest games of the day: Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Vandy, Mizzou, and LSU A&M. Yeah, those big 3. And then, of course, Sunday Fun Day will return on Sunday, recapping the weekend, looking back at the weekend that was. Really, really good stuff, guys. We can't say thank you enough. Love and support. Make sure, by the way, we talked about it. Check out all the full previews and predictions for all of these games for this upcoming weekend to get yourself right, get yourself ready, get your mind right. And if you are in Baton Rouge this weekend, come holler at your boy. We'll be all around. We've got the merch on hand. We've got the stickers. We got everything. We got the beer on hand, by the way, too. Shout out our guys at Outlaw Light, Outlaw Beer. We'll be all over the place, tailgates, all over the city. It's going to be one hell of a time, one hell of a weekend. I cannot freaking wait. So happy to be back here in Baton Rouge.
Barry,
that being said,
for me.
Yeah, so what?
Give love for Ruffino for me.
Oh yeah, we will make sure to do so. Yeah, the old Blake Ruffino. There will be certainly a C Philly and AYS sighting in the city at some point this weekend.
There will be a Kuyan connection going on for that's for damn sure.
Me and all my Kuyans. I'm excited to be back. I thought I lost y'all last weekend, but hey, what's meant to be will happen.
Thank you, Baba Yaga, for saving Chris Phillips.
It all comes back. It all comes back. We're all good now. We're all good now, and I don't know. I've been told that they might actually be pissed off if my prediction comes to fruition because they want Brian Kelly out of there.
They want Brian Kelly gone.
Now it's like, well, darn it. You're like, you, damn you in your bayou or your voodoo. Damn you bringing your voodoo to the bayou. Either way, going to be a good one. Guys, again, we can't say thank you enough. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. I'm Chris Phillips. We're signing off. Guys, have a fantastic week number 9. Stay tuned to all the content. We'll check you all out here on Sunday Fun Day and everywhere else. Y'all have a good one. Cheers.